My name is Ozzy, my mum's Italian, my dad's a Cockney and I live in Birmingham.
My name's Mark. My mum comes from a Welsh Italian family, my dad's from English Irish family. My dad works down Ireland, Austin.
My name's Dean, my mum's Irish and my dad's English. We all live in Birmingham, and my mum works at Rubriel and my dad works at Leyland.
My mum's Irish and my dad comes from Barbados. What about you, Carol? Buffy?
Well, my name is Stephen. I came in 1969. When I first came, I was in Birmingham. I went to school there, you know. So I went about 4 years down there. My father used to work in British Land, you know. Then he was redundant and he came to London.
My name's Evelyn. Well, I lived in Hackney for 5 years. I was brought up in Bradford. I've been to 3 schools in London. My parents were born in Dominica. And I'm 16.
I'm Surinder, I'm 16 and I've lived in Southall all my life. My parents are from India and Kashmir, and I was born in England.
I'm Kuldip, 17, lived in Southall all my life. Parents come from Malaysia and India.
Yeah, well, you get kids, you know, from a working class area, which is all white, thing, you know, and you get a couple of colours about, you know, the immigrants. They start thinking, you know, well, why should they move in? You know, they're going to start taking our homes and our jobs away, or, you know, they're going to start going to all our discos, and then they bring all their mates from other areas. You know, and so you get instead of having a multiracial, you know, all of them living, you know, in love and harmony, if you want to put it that way. It's a load of crap. But, you know, you get them going around thinking, you know, well, why should they have our jobs? You know, if we start beating them up and that, I might get the message clear off.
You know, always they hate our boys, they hate us, they hate our people.
We don't know yet to fight to stay here. We just thought that we going to somewhere where we could earn our living and live as normal person, like neighbors, you know, friends.
Like when we used to go down the Lyceum and that, if a group of whites went to go in, they got in, but if a group of blacks went to go in, they weren't allowed in. They had to be with whites and that. If they split up and went in with a couple of white people, they'd get in. Not allowed in altogether, though, are they? No. It's stupid, isn't it?
You know, I can remember one night I was down Leicester Square, just come from a disco, and 6 of us, all was black, and walked past the pub, and it's about, what, 20 guys, you know. I would say blokes, man, big blokes, like cameraman, bigger than him, you know, tall and beer guts and everything, you know. And the blokes coming on, he just walked past, shout at niggers kind of thing, so the rest started running. I never walked, so I started walking, like, I got lashed in my head. So then everyone there started to run after that. But I couldn't fight 20 guys by myself. And they caught one of them and started kicking him in, didn't they? But then the policeman comes along, and he starts talking, he goes, oh, you shouldn't have started no trouble. As if 6 of us are going to start against 20 blokes, you know. I could have hit him that night, but only because he had other blokes with him that I never bother.
If someone lives in a, say, bad situation, right, in a dirty house, the white people say, oh, look at these dirty, stupid black people, how they are living. If we buy a new flat, fence that, live nice, oh, they said, oh, they have taken our house over. If we don't work, if we go to Social Security, they said, oh, look at them, they're drawing all the money from the Social Security, they should work, they shouldn't live like a stupid tramps in the street. When we get a job, they said, oh, they're taking our jobs. So, I mean, what can we do? We should have a choice. We should have a choice, yeah. It's true. They don't even give us a choice. Either to live happily or sadly.
I think that lock the immigrants together as one Asian mass.
I think they feel threatened when you don't dress like them, when you don't talk like them.
You just believe what everybody told you. Don't bring any blacks home, things like that. Don't mix with them. They cause all the trouble. You don't want to go and mix with them, you might end up stabbed. Things like
that. In the Empire, We found not merely the key to glory and wealth, but the call to duty and the means of service to mankind. Lord Curzon, Viceroy of India.
It all used to be called a Bharat, yeah? Maybe now it's Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, whatever it may be. But when the British went there, they sort of divide the countries into... So they have less powers. So they could, rule or, have the power. They divide human beings. They didn't civilize us. They take our wealth, and they sort of exploit our class.
The solution to domestic distress is an extension of foreign trade. We must look again to Africa, and we must look especially to India and China. The sun never sets on the interests of this country. Lord Palmerston.
Blacks were slaves once upon a time, right?
And I respect my forefathers and our mothers. Them made the stay. That every morning them would work the fields.
While they were slaves, we were just living in disease and all that.
The countries where they did come from, the Far East, there weren't any jobs there. There was no jobs, and they didn't really have much of a future, so they came to this country. And obviously they were encouraged to come down, so they came. And now I think that us being the results, I don't think you can say that, oh, they're immigrants, because they're not wanted down here, because they were wanted down here at one time. Maybe they're not wanted down here anymore. But at the time when London Transport needed more bus conductors, etc., they came down, they were invited down. They were needed here.
Do you have a right to be here?
Yeah, cheap labour.
Why were you here in the first place? Why did your parents come?
Why did they come? They came here for work, for better educational facilities for their children. And I was just born here.
Boredom.
I remember there was a whole group of us, and we were all black, sitting in one part of the playground. And there was a record player on something, not a cassette, and it had Dillinger playing, and we're all sort of sitting there, not saying anything. There's about 10 of us, and the headmaster came down into the playground and told us to move. So I was saying that we had to sort of integrate with white people, but there were all bunches of white people sort of sitting around together and, linking arms. But he didn't tell them that they had to integrate with us. So he was picking on the minority that was there.
Why do you suppose that was?
I don't know, I think it was, we just looked intimidating,
Did they teach you anything about Africa? Or about Asia? Anything about Africa?
Yeah, they used to run about with spears. They taught me that they used to run about with spears, but they don't, because I know Joey, he's black, he don't run about with a spear.
Never went to school. You never went? Went in the first year, and I didn't go no more. I only popped in now and again. Didn't learn nothing.
Ever since an early tender age, our parents have always told us that you've got education, come over to this country because of you. Please use it, make sure you don't get some silly job like I've got.
Because they're always saying to us, look at us, what are we doing? Sweating our guts out, we're working 14 to 16 hours a day. And what for? So that you shouldn't have to do it in the future.
It's indoctrinated into us to aspire upwards, because of the colour of our skin. We're going to meet a lot of prejudice anyway, so the only way we can get upwards is through a job, good job. Because I was sort of like brought up in a working class area, and I went to a working class school, I soon found out that there were divisions in the working class school. Like black people came to the bottom of that list.
The blacks are sick and tired of taking it. Right, all right. Blacks were slaves once upon a time, right? But white people still class blacks in this country as slaves. In a way, they class them as stupid.
And I forefathers was whipped with many strides, whipped and enslaved till it died. That's why I say 96 degrees in the shade.
Reggae is our culture, you know. Reggae is our base, well, basic music. That's our music. We can't do nothing else but reggae. The reggae is what all the combined islands, right? All the small islands. That's what we know. That's the only music we can play, and that's our tradition of music.
How does it make you feel?
Well, good deep feeling inside. Well, you wouldn't understand the word airy, but it means make you feel airy.
What does airy mean?
Airy means you feel good, you know what I mean?
Good inside it, huh? It is airy.
Yeah.
What are you here for tonight?
Well, it's a rock against racialism gig, you know.
Why are you doing a rock against racism?
Well, because of the cause what it's for, really. Black and white people come together and all unite as one instead of fighting, and you know, that's what we're doing it for.
Do you find that the white kids like reggae?
Yeah, well, we find lots of white kids.
Seem to move them a little hotter than most music, you know.
Start to jump up like that. like.
What do you think about punk?
Yeah, well, it's alright. Sometimes it's a bit extreme though. Like, you know what I mean? They go, we're spitting at people and all that. Yeah. Don't like that. But otherwise, it's alright.
Yeah, they're alright.
Every morning, them would work the fields. In the evening time, them would do the same again. Said, and I forefathers was whipped with many strides.
I like reggae and I like heavy rock. It's nice to listen to, and most of what I listen to is about the world and all different things like that. I listen to what they're saying and what it's about.
Heavy punk sort of thing. If you do listen to it very carefully, just, you know, it takes some doing sometimes. You can get into it, and it does give you ideas on what they're saying and what they're thinking and singing about.
Surely our culture's punk, and is Margaret Thatcher defending punk then? Is Margaret Thatcher saying we want to keep out all these colours? She means, by her culture, she means things like Wimbledon and Ascot going to races and wearing hats that cost 50,000 quid each or something like that. That's not our culture. That's their culture, and that won't be being destroyed.
Good, hopefully it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's
not ours, is it?
Bring me more blacks to destroy less culture.
I want to never know. Every job I have, I used to keep you at the door.
It was a white punk band, roots reggae band, and an Indian band, and the people there were sure black people, coloured people, white people, and all that. It was great sense of unity. Yeah, it was really good atmosphere and everything around it. You tend to come to sort of compromise with your parents because your parents have got their old values which they brought back from wherever they come from, say India or wherever. And that's, I mean, for an Asian girl, especially an Asian girl, it's not so much with the fellas. You come along, you go to school, and you've got all this freedom at school. It seems pretty lax at school as compared to home. You come to school, you're allowed to talk to boys. It's pretty liberal. You get home and you're not allowed to mention boys. You tie your hair up. Girls play a very suppressed role at home. And I think when you're younger, you're very aware of it. It can lead to a lot of problems. It depends on the individual, your ability to cope with it. Our problems and other Asian girls' problems are fairly basic, true of all youngsters.